other students. But my parents, they were not educated, but they inspired us in a way, in the way of from their own living and problem solving, that day-to-day problem solving. They kind of show us the appreciation of science and technology, as well as being very innovative. So from that, I think all of us 11 children appreciate science. So that kind of no choice. But I nearly ran away from science because of chemistry. It was so hard for me to to put up with chemistry, and I was so happy to just pass and forget about chemistry for the rest of my life. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Associate Professor at Purapa University, Pyeongpak Sukarak. So please tell us about yourself and what inspired you to become a scientist.
Okay, thank you. Good evening from Chonburi, Thailand, to everyone. So I'm Pyeongpak Sukarak from Purapa University, which is 2 hours from Bangkok, but only 5 minutes from the beach. So it's another destination for you if after COVID-19. So apart from teaching, I'm working on the taxonomy of bryophyte, which is the non-vasculars and non-flowering plant. Bryophyte consists of 3 groups of plants, including moss. You will familiar with this group of plants, and then moss, liverwort, and hornwort. So why did I choose to be a scientist? I grew up in a small province called Nan in the northern part of Thailand, and at that time most of the students would like to be either medical doctor or engineer, but for me I still don't have the answer for my future career. But later then when I was in the grade 9, I have a chance to participate in the science competition. And then I met one senior, and she recommended me that if I would like to be a scientist, I can apply for the scholarship called the Development and Promotions of Science and Technology Talent Project, which support the student who would like to be a scientist in the future. And then I was interested on it, and then I applied, and finally I got it. So I got the support from the scholarship, DPST, we call DPST scholarship since high school until master degree, and then I transfer it to the Royal Thai Government Scholarship in cooperation with the German Academic Exchange Service, or DAAD, which is the German government scholarship, and then for my PhD study in Germany. So that is the story that I become the scientist, and why I fall in love with these amazing groups of plants, because there's only few people study and even know about this one. It was when I was in the second year of a bachelor degree at Chiang Mai University in Chiang Mai province, of course in the northern part of Thailand, as you know. I was a volunteer for the Forest Restoration Research Unit, but instead of take care the seedling plant, but I interested on the small plant that grow on the floor, which is okay. Later I search for the information and know that, oh, this is called bryophyte, and then I would like to do the research on it for my senior project. But then I went to see the lecturer there, and then asked them to be my supervisor, and then she said, oh no, you cannot do it because you have not registered to the course yet. I mean the biology course, learning about these plants. But for me, I think being the scientist, if we have a question, so we can do it, we can find the answer. So I just wrote a proposal what I want to do, how much money that I want. I want money as well to do it. So, and then I submitted to the BRT, biodiversity and biodiversity research and training program, which is an organization that support the biodiversity research. And then lucky me, they support me, they gave me the money. So that's why I can continue working on this group of plant. And until now, I still have been working on this plant for almost 17 years. And then I proved that we can do it as long as we believe in our ability, and we have faith in what we do. So this kind of my story about being the scientist and being the bryologist. Bryologist means the person who study bryophyte. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is definitely something new that I've learned, and thank you for your inspiring words. Now we have Assistant Professor Sirinan Kulchat, lecturer and research at Konkan University.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation for this amazing conference. So I really enjoy listening to the previous professor experience. So now it's my turn. So good evening, everyone. My name is Sirinan Kulchat, and now I'm working at Konkan University in the Department of Chemistry. So actually I am a chemist. So the question, why I choose to become a scientist? Actually, when I think back, when I was in high school, I got a lot of inspiration from my high school teacher. So my high school teacher, they give me a lot of experience to learn how to do a science project. And then I went to the competition in Thailand, the big competition about science, and then I got the first runner-up at that time. And I think when I was very young, maybe at that time I was 14 years old. 2 years later, I got the scholarship from NASDA, from NSTDA, the scholarship called Junior Science Talent Project. And this scholarship can support me a lot, can support me since when I studied from high school and until I want to finish my PhD in Thailand. But I choose to study the chemistry because I really love chemistry since when I was in high school. I love how the molecule, we can make anything we want, like we are cooking in a pot and we get anything we want. So I decided to join the chemistry program in Chulalongkorn University for my bachelor degree and my master degree. Once I graduated from the master degree, at that time, and I got a very good opportunity to join the Nobel laureate meeting in Germany called Lindau meeting, and I have been selected by NASDA and Princess in Thailand to be there for the representative of Thailand at that time. And I went to this conference, so I met a lot of young scientists from around the world, and also a lot of Nobel laureates. So they inspire me a lot. And once I graduated from my master degree, at that time, I make a decision to be a really scientist in chemistry. So after I graduated from the master degree, I went to France because I got the scholarship. I got the support from Cosi scholarship. Maybe it's about 10 years ago. And also the scholarship from Konkan University to go there to study my PhD with a Nobel laureate, Professor John McKillen. So my professor, John McKillen, he is a role model for me to become a scientist in chemistry because he taught me a lot about how to become a great scientist, how to think like logically, how to write manuscript, how to do the laboratory and everything. So he is my role model. And when I graduate from PhD, I come back to work in Konkan University. At that time, I don't have anything for my lab, like a previous professor said. So in the lab, I don't have anything, even flat. So I went to the lab, and one of the professor in Kanchana University, he support me at that time. So I can grow up my group, and I share the topic for my PhD to be, now I'm working on the smart material and I focus on the nano material. So I start building up my group after I start working here for 2 years. So at that time I have like two students, master student and PhD student. We try to build up the group, and now our group has like about 11 students in the group and is much bigger. So I think this is my experience. So now I think I'm gonna stay in this career because I really love it, and I love to inspire the people, love to teach the student, love to support the people. And I also tell my student in my group, like, you have to learn more, and if you face some kind of problem, don't give up, because that kind of problem is very good experience for you to learn how to tackle the problems in the future. Okay, thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And
You are
last
welcome.
but not least, we have Assistant Professor at BISTEC, Chularat Watanakit.
Okay, thank you very much for a very nice introduction, and thank you as well for inviting me to have a chance to share about our experience that I have so far. So currently, as you a little bit introduced, that I'm the assistant professor at BISTEC. Actually, our university is really totally new because we just organized this university 5 years ago. So right now I'm working in the field of heterogeneous catalysis and also electrocatalysis. Actually, for when I was young, actually I liked a lot the subject of science, and especially chemistry and physics. So actually in the beginning of my life, I really want to be the engineers. Like Dr. Pyeongpak said, that many young students, young Thai students really want to be to study in medicine or in medical or engineering. And for me as well, but I'm not sure, fortunately or unfortunately, because that time I think that unfortunately that I got the talented scholarship for science in Kanjinatsu University, and I know that if I accept this offer from them, I could help my family because they don't need to pay anything. So that is the starting point. But actually, in the beginning, I'm quite sad because I want to be the engineer. But when I try to think what is the best option for my family, so that I decided to study in science. But after I finished my bachelor degree, I think I already fall in love science. So then I still keep continuous for my PhD under the co-tutor frameworks between Kanjinatsu University and also Bordeaux University in France. Because that time I got the scholarship from Royal Jubilee PhD program, and also supported by the French Embassy. So in that time, I have a chance to spend my time for my research in Bordeaux as well. So then, as same as many people here that I also have my role model. He is my previous supervisor, Professor Alexander Kun from Bordeaux University. So actually, sometime during my study there, some point I also get some fascination because I got nothing, no any publication, no result, and what should I do? So how can I finish my PhD? So then at that time I feel a little bit nervous, but for my previous professors, he never complained about me when I have no result, but he always encouraged me, and then he believed in me. He said that just be patient, a good result will come out very soon. So then I try to be patient a year, something like that. And then I remember when my first publication in in Nature Communication, accepted, I'm really happy. And actually that is my starting point. That's why I want to become the researcher. Actually, after I finished my PhD, I had a chance to be in Japan as a postdoc researcher. And then at that time, I decided, okay, maybe it's time that I need to find some permanent job. So that's why I decided to be back in Thailand. So I start with my job actually not in the university, but in the company. That's how I apply as a researcher position in SG Chemicals. Is one of the biggest company in Thailand. And also, actually, I really like to work in the company because I could also try to make some research that we hope that this research could be in the reality. I mean, we could invest this research in the real system or in the commercialized scales. But then when I know that we take would be launched very soon, and I saw that strategy is quite interesting because they try to claim that they want to be the #1 university in Thailand in 5 years and maybe in Asia in next 10 years, something like that. So then when I saw that strategy, I feel it's very, very challenging. And then I thought that what should I do with my future? Between choosing between company and the job in the university. So then at that time, I thought that if I work in the company, so I could work just only for the small group. But if I have a chance to work in the academic fields, I have more chance to transfer my scientific knowledge to students. And then I hope that student could also help more to develop our country. So that's why I decided to quit the job in the company and to be in VTech. Actually, for my life, when I start in VTech, it's like Professor Janine mentioned that we have nothing, and I could say that time we have just only building. We have really nothing because we just open. No any lab space, nothing. It's still under the construction. So then, that time, to be honest, I'm thinking that, okay, what is my life? So how can I handle this nothing like this? So how can I get any achievement? But I think I'm quite lucky because I got the support from many supporters like my previous professor and also from our team in VTech. And I was lucky that I have really good first batch student. So they help together with us to set up our lab in just only a few months. And also at that time, I got the Junior Research Fellowship from French Embassy that allowed me to be again in Bordeaux. So then I could start officially collaboration research with with the research group of Professor Alexander Kuhn. So at that time, the starting point that I made a real collaboration after I finished my PhD. And also, when I came back, I still continue to keep the collaboration. And right now, we send quite a lot as students. Right now, we have already 4 sharings, co-tutor students between VTech and University of Bordeaux. And I think this is quite important that not only myself, but I could give it for our young students as well. So then it means that I think the connection is quite really successful and also really important because this is some mission that bring me today some already success that I got some young scientist awards and L'Oreal Women Insight Awards in 2018. Actually, because of the work that we have done together with the University of Bordeaux. So I think that is quite really important for me in terms of the collaboration.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Professor Chularat. Thank you so much to everybody for your introductions and for sharing with us the different inspirations that you've had, the family support, the role models, what it has meant to all of you to come into this field or to the different fields of sciences that you're all in. So as we said in the beginning, today we are commemorating the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. And it's an important opportunity to raise awareness amongst public opinion and decision makers of the inequalities between women and men that still persist in the world of higher education and research. So of course, we're joined here by very successful scientists, but I'm sure your paths, your journeys have also had some obstacles and some challenges. And we're wondering if there have been any disadvantages or advantages in these paths because you are women in science. So this is what we would like to hear from you now. I'm being conscious of time and I would like to hear from all of you. So I will ask you to give us brief responses on what challenges, disadvantages, or advantages you have had in this experience. And I would like to invite our audience, if they have questions for our scientists as they are giving their responses, you can write them in the chat box. So maybe they can see and add to their responses as they're speaking to us. We will start with Dr. Valérie Messon-Delmotte. So over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I would like to stress that progress in science benefits from a diversity of contributors and a diversity of scientists. That's the most important point. And the key thing is collective intelligence. However, for some reasons, women have to overcome a number of challenges. For instance, there are still stereotypes in families about what is a career for a girl, and this needs to be overcome. There are stereotypes amongst professors sometimes in high schools who give advice to women to go in specific directions, while when they go in directions where there are fewer women, in fact, they have more career opportunities, for instance, in computing or engineering. I think the most important point is related to self-confidence. I see a lot of time very bright students who have all the skills, really all the skills, the ability to work, to understand, to be creative, to be innovative, but they lack self-confidence. And to overcome that, as it was said before, the expression of trust is really important. The trust from supervisors, from colleagues, the objective analysis of what you can achieve, and maybe more importantly, the wish to take risks, the wish to develop your own choices, convince your families, convince others and yourself that this is what you want to do, is probably the key. If I look at my work in the science policy interface now, where we select the best scientists in the field of climate science, progress is impressive. We have been from a few percent of science female experts in the 1990s to around 30% now. But as you can see, there is a margin for progression, and it should be 50% as soon as possible. And for that, we need more bright women to go into science careers, more bright scientists to also recognize their value, their skills, and to apply to be authors of these international assessment reports. And the experience is that they have powerful minds and powerful voices as well to reflect knowledge from science and also to develop science that is relevant and useful for society. So these were a few points I wanted to flag. And finally, what is striking in my own research community in France is the fact that despite everything that makes careers available for women, despite childcare that is really important for any woman who wants to have a career in any field, including science, what we still see is a glass ceiling effect. We have more women than men finalizing the final high school exam. we have about, I think, 44% of women who have PhD degrees. But as we look at responsibility levels like professorship, heads of departments, then we see fewer women. And for that, I really think that there's a need for women to apply to positions with responsibilities. And there's also a need for institutions to have clearer and more efficient policies to promote women at high responsibility levels. And the reason why I accepted to apply to be a co-chair of the IPCC myself was that in the history of that body, over 30 years, there had been previously only one woman co-chair and never a chair. Now we have in this body 2 of the 3 vice chairs who are women, one from Brazil, one from the US. And in the co-chairs of the working groups, 2 women, one from South Africa and myself. And I think it works really well. And it's a very important sign for encouraging more and more women to apply for visible responsibility levels at the international scale.
Thank you so much. What you say rings so true. Next, we want to hear from Professor Janine Cosi. If you can please share with us.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, if you want to have a scientific career, at first, I think it depends on the education that you have at home. And we have to break this kind of thing that you have some science that is for men and some science that is for women. And I think we have whatever the gender, you have the possibility to be a scientist. And we do not need to have this barrier. I mean, it's very, very important to break this kind of, you know, the idea that people as men are allowed to do this, women is allowed to do this. We will have, for women, we will have another approach than for men, but it's complementary. I never consider men as enemies, but on the contrary, I think we have to move forward with them and everybody can learn from each other. The thing that, you know, for example, we have still this woman in science. As I think for me, it's good. It's positive discrimination, but in a way it's not good. Because if you have this kind of system, that means that at least you will have always this kind of barrier in between men and women. And everybody has to be considered at the same level. For me, it's really important. You do not have to have this positive discrimination. People have to consider that you are good or you are not good, man or woman. But I think you have to go forward and to work together in a good way. Well, sometimes, I mean, that's true. I think females are not self-confident in themselves. And this is very important. You have to be confident. But if you are not, don't show people that you are not. That's also very important. Otherwise, you will say, well, okay, she's not good. And it's not true, you know. So it is also a question. Sometimes it's also a question for the female to go forward and to want to do that kind of thing. If you say, well, okay, I want to do it, well, I think you have to do it and go forward. Don't look apart. Even women will be very criticized against women also. And you have to be very careful. It's not only men, it's also women. And sometimes women towards a young woman are harsher than men. And that's also a problem. And I think we have to take risk and to go forward. And this is really also important. But I think, well, you have also some people that are supporting you at the beginning of your career. And this is very important. Even if they don't bring you a lot, it's very important to feel that you have some support. But at the beginning, I think it's a kind of education that you can have at home, and we can change this about the mentality. Or, I mean, as you are a professor or whatever, I think you have to tell the girls that are in the classroom that they have to go forward and don't do any discrimination in between men and women. You are good or you are not good. And you have to, but the most important thing is to have, as Madame Masson Delmotte say, you have to have self-confidence. And this is very important. But I mean, you need sometimes people that can support you to have this self-confidence. You know, as I say, I was lucky because in the US, my supervisor for my postdoc, he was supporting me and said, go forward. And then I go forward. But probably at the beginning in France, I was not so motivated because nobody told me to go forward. And sometimes
Right.
it's the mentality of the people in one country. In Europe, sometimes, well, we have this kind of education or whatever that women are not as good as men, and that's not true. Women don't want to go for math because it was saying before, math is not for women. That's not true. They have another approach than men, but we are complementary.
Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the challenges, but also recommendations and these positive outlooks for younger women. In the chat, there have been a couple of questions to our teachers and speakers here today to have recommendations for women who are interested in coming into the field of science and also research. So perhaps for our next set of speakers, while you tell us of the challenges or advantages or disadvantages, you can also complement with recommendations for younger scientists or younger women who are coming into this field. Thank you so much. Next, we have Professor Kanchana Kanjinatsu. Sorry, Professor Kanchana, we cannot hear you. You have to unmute your microphone.
Okay, sorry, I forgot to unmute. Yeah, I share my views with the previous two speakers, so I don't want to repeat that. In summary, I don't like when we talk about women in science, it's a kind of discrimination in a way. So hopefully, by after many years, this kind of activity would disappear. We don't need to have women in science. Everybody can become scientists. And another one is that for scientists, for young women, I really think what we need to build, to ask them to pay attention to is to build their confidence. They don't have to focus on the problem of male or being woman, because I found many young colleagues, some of them pay too much attention on this discrimination, and to the point that they themselves put themselves down instead of like they feel that I'm a woman, cannot do this, I cannot do that, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. So they put the women as a obstacle to themselves. This is wrong. So they have to overcome that by themselves. No one can help them. So build your confidence and don't focus on this gender issue too much. Of course it exists, but if it doesn't affect you practically, don't pay too much attention. Otherwise you get dragged away and you yourself is destroying yourself. Another thing I found in computing, and in Thailand, we have a lot of female computing faculty or researchers. But I found that after when they reach 30 years old and 30 to 35, they seem to disappear. I haven't done any research on why did they disappear, but in my observation, I think they have family obligation, raising their children. Not when the children start growing up, they need to pay more attention to the children. So that could be one of the main reasons. So which childcare itself cannot help. You need the children kind of teenager age, and the mother need to pay more attention to them. So that could be one of the problem why we do not see women professor in computing science. They can become like assistant professor, associate professor, and that's it. So I think build your confidence. Don't focus too much on the gender issue. Thank you.
Thank you. You've brought up very important things here. Yes, of course, this is something that we wish we wouldn't need, the need to commemorate a day like this and to make something specific out of it, but it is needed, right? As you have said, as you go up in this pyramid, women start disappearing, and this is where gender roles from society come in and challenge us in that way.
Yes, I agree with that, and I think we need to address that kind of problem, which is more or less practical problem, how to help women to stay in their career. This is what we should address. We should not say women or men, but of course there are some specific problems that we need to address, but don't let the gender issue to become your obstacle in making your career. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So next we will hear.
Yes, I had something.
Sure. Thank you. Come in.
Sorry. Well, the world, I will say the world is yours, but you have to work. And if you are working, I mean, you have the right to all ambitions. And this is very important, but we have to work, that's for sure.
Definitely, yes. And we have great working women here with us and students who are hoping to come into this field as well. So all of your words are very inspiring and encouraging to them. Thank you. So Associate Professor Pyeongpak Sukarak, your thoughts? Sorry, before you begin, I just want to say we only have 20 minutes left and we want to hear from the three of you as well. So let's be conscious of time. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I do my best. So honestly, so far I have never felt this disadvantage or advantage to being the women scientist. In my opinion, everything is possible and we can do everything that we want. We can fly as high as we would like to be. And of course, they always challenge there, but we just have to deal with it. So it depends on our mindset, not the gender. That is in the main points of my points of view. And then let me share with you about the example. For the first one is doing the research. Like most of the speaker here, when we begin the career part, so we don't have anything. Me too. I don't have anything. We can no lab, no equipment. So to deal with it, collaborations is a great thing and can help a lot. Just like Dr. Jularak, that I also received the fellowship from the French Embassy in Thailand. so I can start my work, the research in Paris, and I also got the research stay from JRD for the researcher and the university academic. So this one can help me as well to continue to do my research. And at the same time, I try to build my own on lab, on equipment, and find the funding. And then so this helped a lot about the collaborations. And another one is the support from the family and the colleague. So this one can help a lot as well. Just like after with the support from the fellowship, I conducted the research, and then I received the Young Scientist Award in 2015 from the Foundations of the Promotions of Science and Technology under the patronage of His Majesty the King. And these lead to the opportunity for me to share my experience with the young generation, because I was invited to give a talk. Until now it's about 60 talk, and still keep going on. I can do it as a mother of one daughter. I still can do it, because imagine that before COVID, I have to travel to all around throughout Thailand to give a talk, to share with this kind of experience. And I still can do it because I got the support from the family. I have a plan, so I have a support from the colleagues, so everything can be organized. And then so everything is, and until now at the era of COVID, I still have to take care of my daughter by my own, because my husband is in Malaysia, so we have not met each other. We didn't meet each other for almost 1 year now because of the COVID. So, but everything is okay. I can manage it. So this is not because of the gender or anything. It's just we plan and we manage, and then we just deal with all challenge that we have to face. So I believe everything is possible. So it can be possible that everything that we want. So that's it from my point of view.
Thank you. And thank you for highlighting the importance of having a support system, of relying on family, on colleagues, on friends. I think this is something that has been said in many of your different interventions from the different speakers tonight. So thank you.
Yes, one more thing, because for my plants mostly growing in the deep jungle, being a woman, how to deal with it when I have to go to the jungle, I just ask my colleague, ask my student to join the field trip. They enjoy it, and then I have a company to help me and then support me. So everything is okay. So we can deal with it. That's it.
Thank you. So now we have Assistant Professor Sirinan Kulchat.
Okay, thank you very much for a very nice talk and very inspiration. I hope everything can inspire the young scientists. So in my point of view, for the challenge to be as a scientist, because now I think I am quite young, maybe nearly the mid-career, and I just start my career as a lecturer and the researcher in Kanchana University for 5 years now, because I just graduated 5 years ago from France for my PhD. So I think the most important thing for us, the challenge, is the support. It's not just the support from our colleagues. The most important thing is the support for us to have a very strong mentality mind to work with a lot of people around us. For example, like colleagues, because as we know, when we live in a different environment, when we come back from abroad and to start our careers in a different place, so we don't know anyone at that place. So the most important thing for me is to keep the strong mentality and can work with a lot of people around, and also the support from the family is very important, and their understanding to support us to keep going in the science career, and also the diligent and also the patient. So when we start working in a science career as a scientist, sure, everybody can face with a lot of problems, like all of the professors here, when they start their career, they have nothing. So for me too, it's the same. So we have to be patient, and also we have to ask for the support from ask for money support for like ask for the grant from many sources. For example, for me, I apply to many grants. Sometimes I get it and sometimes I didn't get it. Like I applied to 10 grants, sometimes I get like 2. It's better than nothing. If we don't try, if we don't apply, so we get nothing. And this is very important, to be patient and to be self-confident, also to collaborate with the people in the university and also outside university. Like I also have the collaboration with a company in Bangkok, 2 or 3 companies, and also the cooperation in Taiwan and the cooperation in Australia and France, so on. And the most important thing is the working skill too. Working skill, communication skill, so we can communicate. For example, communicate with the students. For me, I work in a northeastern part of Thailand. So some students, they are not too clever, but I can teach them how to think logically, and like be patient with them, try to communicate them word by word. So I never complain to them, I never blame them, because I know everyone has like different base of their life, something like that. And also the things that the discrimination between men and women, I think this is, for me, this is not too important, because we are women and we can work as a man does. So I don't think this is too important for me. And sometimes a man can support us a lot for something that we cannot do. And I think we have to live together. So men help women and women help men, because a man cannot do something and women cannot do something. So the best way is to live together peacefully and help each other to build up something nice for the world and our country. That's my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sirinan. Now we will hear from Professor Chularat.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would advise some young female scientists, just listen to your voice. I think you can be anything that you want. It doesn't matter that we are male or female, right? So then just believe in yourself. I believe that if we believe in ourselves, like we can do everything that we want. So then I would give some example from my experience during my decide to quit my job in the company that I said in the beginning. Actually, nobody agreed with me, because they didn't see about the perspective of this tech. That's how you can imagine in that during that time we have just only on the paper of the photo of the VTech in the imagination, but no in the real vision, right? So my family and everyone around me said, "Are you sure?" Because I work in very, I could say that the place that I stay is quite stable, and they give a lot of salary in Thailand, I could say, and a lot of profits. So then actually nobody agree with me when I decide that, but I just believe in myself, that I believe that if I want to do it, and finally I will find every way to solve all problems, and then I want to be the successor. So then that's why I decide like that, and then I try to focus. I think this is some idea that I want to share the young scientists, that just listen to your voice. If you want to be the scientist, and I believe that you can do this, and it doesn't matter about the gender. I think this question is the same with another question like different nationality, or we are rich or poor people, something like that. So then I think it's the same issue. Like if we try to focus on that, we never success. If we care too much about the people to compare about it, I think it's really useless. But as long as if we try to keep in mind and keep forward what we try to do and try to focus is, and the very important thing is the passionate. Okay, I really believe that if we have the passion, like finally we could succeed that. And also another important thing, I think the connection is really very important. Like many people already says about the supporter. Actually, I think the supporter is very important. I could say that I could get everything that I have today because I have a good supporter. Because in the beginning, sometimes I'm a little bit want to be really completely independently. Okay, I want to do everything alone, something like that. I have that idea as well. But yeah, many people told me, especially my previous professor, he told me that it's very difficult. He want to help me because he already has that some experience that it's very difficult to start everything from zero alone. But I should accept some help from some people that they want to give up because it could die at quite fast in our tech career. So I think this is very important if we have the good support. So I think some point maybe it's good opportunity to accept that advice and their help, and it could help us as well. And also the connection with among several colleagues, like both in academic, even inside Thailand and also at outside Thailand as well, and also with the company. I could say that right now I could not do everything here in VTech. We don't maybe some of you think that we have everything here, but yeah, I could say that no, it's not true. But yeah, we know that how we could handle with that. For example, if we don't have the machine, we don't have the instrument, but we know about the connection. We know that how we could ask the people, how we could send the sample for the analysis, how we could make some joint collaboration, just try to get job done with the very nice of the, in terms of the research. So just the last message that I want to mention for the young students, just keep your passion and just follow your mind what you want. And I believe that at the end you will be success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for sharing your thoughts on these recommendations and suggestions for young students who might want to follow in your footsteps. So we have enough time for one last question. If you want to raise your hand right now on our Zoom, or if you want to put it in the chat box, I will be checking in case there's someone raising their hand. Okay. So perhaps just last words from our speakers to say goodbye. If you have any last words that you'd like to share. I know you've already shared some recommendations, but just 1 minute each so that we make it on time. Let's start again with Dr. Valerie.
Yes, thank you. So I wanted to react on some of the messages that have been expressed. I understand that the current situation with the pandemic is increasing challenges, but at the same time, as you see now, we are all online, we can exchange, we can communicate. It's also opening new possibilities. I really encourage you to reach out to research developments, science developments in the field of interest for you. You can do that through looking at, open access databases of publications, You can check for webinars that are open for participation of students and early career scientists. I also encourage you to join international associations of early career scientists that are open when you are a bachelor or a master's student, because this gives you the perspective of other early career scientists, and it's also an opportunity to develop your own network and find what you would like to pursue. With that, I would like to thank you for this invitation, and just reflect on the fact that the day, the International Day for Women in Science, is a way to look at what can be done for progress, but also to reflect on the contribution of women in science that already are there, and make sure that they are more visible in school books, they are more visible in the media, because this is important to overcome the stereotypes. So I hope in any country, the bright women we have seen today will be more visible and will inspire more girls, families, to support careers of women in the field of science.
Thank you so much. Next, Professor Janine, 1 minute for you.
Okay, I will be very brief. Some advices: be confident, work, make your way and go ahead, and don't drop anything.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Professor Kanchana. Professor Kanchana, if you can unmute your microphone.
Yeah, okay. Sorry,
Thank you.
my eyes is not
Thank
so
you.
good. Yeah, I think what you have to do is to keep your interest alive, and don't find too many excuses for not doing things, and and taking everything as a challenge. So once you overcome one challenge, you can overcome more and more challenges, and that is the way scientists work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Professor Pyeongpak.
So I would like to encourage the women and girls in science and related field to believe in our ability and have a faith in what we do. So when we find the truly calling, we will be driven and be inspired and constantly improve ourselves. So to be the best version of our own, and then apart from knowing ourselves, it's a great thing to learn about others, just like who is the expert in your research area, which journal is the best one, what is the conference of your research area, and what is the research funding of your country or your research area. So because the world is moving, and then as long as we know about ourselves and know about other people, so we can move along with the world. So I encourage we are all to do it. And then I would like to thank the embassies of Mexico in Thailand, the embassies of France in Thailand, UN Women Asia Pacific, as well as the ASEAN Institutes of Technology for organizing this inspiring event. So this one is very important to celebrate and reinforce our ability, and then strengthen our voice in the research, especially for the gender issue. So thank you. ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณค่ะ. Thank you so much. Professor Sirinan.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think for me is the passion is also very important, and don't forget to be like to be self-confident, and the most important thing is also to balance your life. Don't just work too much. You can work, and then at the meantime you can rest. by taking care of yourself. When you have like a very strong body, strong health, you are very healthy, you can work with whatever you want, you can have self-confidence, you can be patient. And also one thing is you have to fight with everything you face with. Don't be give up with your inspiration and with your passion in your mind. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me today to join this kind of such an amazing program. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. And last but not least, Professor Tularat.
Thank you very much. For my last message, I want to give to young female scientists that just listen to your voice. If your answer is you want to be the scientist, just go ahead. Don't be afraid anything. Yeah, I'm sure that how to say, every moment like there also have some problem in your life. It doesn't matter what you want to do, right? So then you have to handle the problem all the time. But that is also our mission for our scientific life, that we have to know and to handle with it. But I think if we could manage this well, we could also spend with this career with happiness as well. And also, finally, I think maybe we take is also some open place for also all people around the world. We don't have for sure any border between female and male, and also we accept quite a lot both national and international students as well. So if the young student are interested to study like the in the PhD program, so please welcome as well. But unfortunately, this year it's just closed a few months ago, but maybe for it's still open for all of you next year. If you are interested, just go to our website, and then yeah, we open for the opportunity for all young scientists. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I have personally found today's discussion fascinating and insightful. Thank you so much for your participation. We appreciate the time and effort in sharing your inspiring and versatile experiences with us. And well, this brings our event to an end. We have shared some interesting facts in the chat box if you want to check them out, as some links as well before you leave. But once again, thank you for being with us today, and hope to see you in future events. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
If